The theorem says the straight line joining, okay, the straight line joining the center of the chord, okay, center of the chord and radius are perpendicular to each other. Okay, that means I'll draw. Okay, this is a chord. Okay, this is a chord. When we draw a radius, okay, when we draw a radius of the circle, which is bisecting the chord, okay, when we draw a radius through the chord, okay, that is intersecting the chord, bisecting the chord, not intersecting, bisecting, okay, when we draw, okay, chord is pre-existing one. When we draw a radius which is going through the midpoint of the chord, which is going through the midpoint of the chord, will bisect the total length of the chord into two portions, and these are perpendicular to each other. These are perpendicular to each other. Okay, it's little confusing, but it is. I'll repeat once more. Okay, in a circle we have a chord. No. Okay, the midpoint of chord. When we draw a radius, okay, we can draw radius in many ways. We can draw radius in many ways in the circle, but we we just want the radius which is going through the midpoint, okay, the midpoint of the chord, okay, midpoint of the chord, that should be perpendicular with each other. The radius and the chord are perpendicular to each other. This is the theorem you should know. I'll repeat once more what is happening here. Okay, this is a chord. When we connect midpoint of the chord and radius, midpoint of the chord and radius, those are perpendicular with each other. Those are perpendicular with each other. That's the theorem you should know in this chord. Okay, chord. This is a chord. Okay, midpoint. When we draw a radius which is going through the midpoint of the chord, that will bisect the chord, and those are perpendicular. Those are perpendicular. That's the theorem says. That's the thing you should know. Okay. Note this. Let's write our theorem after this. Straight line, the straight line, this is the theorem says the radius which is going through the midpoint, okay, the radius which is going through the midpoint of a chord is perpendicular, okay, of a chord is perpendicular, okay. This radius and this chord, when these two are intersect, that will create a perpendicular, that means right angle. Mostly in exam papers they will incorporate some questions in here with Pythagoras theorem. Okay, this is a radius of the circle. So we will incorporate some questions like this. Let's try them after here.